God damn, what is some trash releases this year. Some of the releases this year were so bad that it made my worst ever list. So let's get into it. Today we're going to be talking about the worst 4K Blu-rays that came out in the year of 2022. Let's get it started. Alright, starting off with the Travolta Classic Saturday Night Fever. God damn it, I was so hyped for this because I felt like this was going to be demo quality, and what we got was less than. I mean, I knew coming into this 4K that there were going to be some rough spots, as the visual style itself is very kind of like soft and hazy. And I was right, there are many instances of soft edges and out of focus shots that really take you out of the 4K experience. But then there's like scenes of brilliance. Those scenes where Travolta is in the discotheque, the disco club, and he's dancing away and the Bee Gees music is blaring. It looked amazing. But then it cuts to the scene of Travolta like sitting at the table, that dinner scene, looked god-awful. And then yes, I know, the HDR, it was really nice, and it kind of saved this transfer for being higher up in this list, but I can't ignore how poorly this remaster was, as there is still film perfection. Terrible grain management, like I don't know what happened here. The way they managed the grain was like they took the smudge tool in Photoshop and this kind of, rubbed it around together. It felt very gloopy and smudgy. It's like, oh, they might not notice it because you don't see the little dots, but it looked terrible. It looked even worse than if you just let it be. Let the grain be. Why do people hate grain so much? It's a movie that came out 40 fucking years ago. Why do you gotta ruin this shit? And it felt like lava. It was very viscous and all really goopy and stuff. I hated it. I don't know. And then the audio. The audio is, they ruined the, how is the audio worse than the Blu-ray? It was dull and lifeless. For a movie with an amazing soundtrack, the lack of bass and overall depth of the audio made this even more frustrating, as this has one of the greatest soundtracks of any movie. As a musician and audiophile myself, this was just frustrating to get through. And then you go to the Blu-ray counterpart and it slaps. It sounds a lot better than this new 5.1 digital master audio. This is a prime example on when, if you can't do it right, just don't do it at all. But thankfully, this was only like 19 bucks, so that is why it is the lowest on the list as compared to some of the other ones on the list. Number 4 is Cat's Eyes, a Studio Canal release of a Stephen King classic. I was really hyped because they announced that they're going to be doing a 4K transfer from the original 35mm camera negatives, and I was hella hyped. And again, there is pretty good detail. The killer of this 4K is the absolutely god-awful HDR and the color timing. What were they thinking? The white levels turned to piss yellow. Everything has this disgusting, ugly hue of mucus and bile green with dehydrated piss yellow. And I thought I had maybe like a defective disc or something. Maybe the HDR wasn't properly rendered. Maybe I had to do it. But further sleuthing on Reddit and other forums, this was actually a common occurrence with other people's 4K discs. Damn it, Studio Canal, you were on a freaking roll. A few of my favorite 4K releases were from Studio Canal, and then they released this crap. Ah, god damn it. Everything looks muggy, with the color complexion again of puke mixed with dehydrated urine and snot. It looks nasty. Look at these screenshots. Tell me, does this look nice? Would you spend over 30 bucks importing this from the UK to get this? No, it looks terrible. Black levels, while they are inky, are heavy and they crush so much detail. And white levels there weren't even white levels. It was yellow levels. It looked as if the white levels were just slimed at a Nickelodeon awards ceremony. And as I stated before, this transfer did get a brand new 4K restoration from the original camera negatives. But honestly, when you really compare it to the Blu-ray counterpart from 2016, it's not even that much better. Honestly, it's as Brass Tacks calls it, it's a pubic hair sharper. And then when it comes to the audio, yeah, it's decent. It's a pretty decent 5.1 soundtrack. But what is the point of complimenting the artisanal, freshly baked bread of a shit sandwich? All right, number 3 is Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. Damn it! All of these 4Ks I was so hyped for, and they just disappointed me over and over and over again. And I kept buying them, especially when the Blu-ray, the new Blu-ray Steelbook came out literally the year before. Now, in theory, this may not really be the worst, I mean, but it's definitely a disrespect to its original source material. Now, I am a film buff. I love the idea of film preservation, and that was why I invested so heavily in 4K, is because when you do a restoration of film, it looks beautiful. It looks like a real piece of art. But for some god-awful reason, these studios think, oh, people just want to see it look clean. Make it look cleaner, make it look cleaner. And while, yes, obviously some restoration when it comes to film degradation and that kind of stuff is appreciated, DNR is not cleaning it up, it is mugging it, and this is chock full of DNR. Now, I thought because there was the previous release was DNR'd to shit, I thought maybe this would be a lot better because it's, you know, uncompressed 4K quality on a 66 to 100 gig layer disc. No, it's still DNR to fuck all. Why would they disrespect this classic? It's easily one of my favorite 80s comedies, and it's just done so dirty. If I wanted to watch an overly processed DNR bullshit, I'll just pull it up on Netflix, not spend $25 to $30 on this. What? Dude. But it feels like there was like different people working on this, as there are some mid shots and some close shots that look brilliant, but the further it pans out, the more it looks soft. Some DVD quality scenes, dude, it's like the carrot in front of dangling your face. Oh, you want a good 4K transfer? Here's some goodness, and then they just pie you in the face with a shit pie, and you just feel leaving robbed, mugged, and disrespected forever. You know, thinking this would be a good transfer. You know, hey, I like Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, one of my favorite comedies of all time, one of the biggest John Candy classics, and they ruin it. God damn. This felt like I was eating a plastic cheese sandwich on processed white bread. The 4K, again, soft, dull, and again, DVD sequences on this 4K presentation. How is this the same company that brought us Top Gun Maverick? What a disgrace. Alright, now we're getting into the top 2. If you've seen my previous videos, I've mentioned this many times. Number 2, the second worst 4K Blu-ray of the year is Pirates of the Caribbean. God damn, this was terribly done. Did someone say Terminator 2? Like, ever see those memes where it's like T2, DNR, overly contrasted HDR bullshit, and then it's like Pirates of the Caribbean, hold my beer. This is literally what that is. I mean, what in the hell is this transfer? This transfer feels like it got scurvy with its vitamin D deficiency, because this 4K is just dark and dull. How does this even happen? Pirates of the Caribbean is like one of the biggest franchises ever, and I was super hyped because obviously I grew up, you know, as a 22-year-old, 23-year-old, I grew up with this franchise, and you know, being this like a huge big blockbuster that was made on film too, it just shits the bed really badly. I mean, I couldn't even tell if they upgraded this from the 1080p. It literally feels like they just slapped on a black case and tried to capitalize on our nostalgia for the 21st anniversary edition. But it doesn't even feel like that, because in some shots, the 1080p looks better with a more realistic contrast, better lighting situations, a better color palette. Here, they try to overcompensate. It feels like they just raised the sharpness on like Premiere Pro, raised the contrast to make it feel more HDR, more deeper colors, when literally, like, there's scenes where Captain Jack Sparrow is in the frontal of daylight, midday, where the sun's peeking on him, and it feels like it's in the evening. And there's no shots where it feels like there's daytime. It always feels like evening shots or night shots. And then you could say, yeah, I guess the 4K is inky black, but it's inky black to a point where it crushes detail. Again, it feels like literally they just lowered the highlights, increased the contrast, and called it a day, and said, give me my fucking money now, give me money now. And then some people bought it. It's crazy. What a waste of money, but at least at least it was like, what, 20, 25 bucks here in Canada, as opposed to the #1 spot. And that is Platoon on 4K Blu-ray. I don't know what else to say. If you haven't seen my review, I spent half an hour talking about it, raging about it, because of how insane this is. A boutique label, Scream Factory or Shout Factory, you wouldn't expect, because I feel like for the most part, for me and over a lot of people, we kind of hold boutique labels in a higher regard because it feels like, yeah, they're really out for us. You know, they're for collectors. You know, they put out these really cool collector's editions with new remasters and all that stuff. But when it came to Platoon on 4K, it was just such a lazy transfer. Nothing was done. While there were some really nice close-up shots, for the majority it looked muggy, it looked dirty. A lot of the shots where the camera perspective is from the helicopter, a lot of those wide open shots of like vistas and the Philippines, because it was filmed in the Philippines, looks DVD quality. And not to mention, this was $40 fucking. I spent $40 to get this because I was so hyped, because Platoon is one of my favorite war films because it doesn't hold punches. It really shows what the whole conflict was about, and it doesn't try to make this really overly patriotic kind of movie. It's a fantastic movie, one of my favorite movies of all time. And the way that Shout Factory was calling this a special collector's edition, and they didn't do anything. There was so much film degradation. It looked terrible. It didn't even feel like they tried to restore anything. In my review, I stated, and then watching it again for this worst list, there's this line, this prevalent film degradation line that ruins all of the shots, you know? Because when you see people crying and people dying, and then you see this fucking film degradation line, it kind of took me out of it, especially because me, I'm such a video file and an audio file where it's like, oh gosh, I can't see. I keep seeing these film degradations, and even though I don't really care for film degradations, but when you charge so much for this 4K remaster presentation or whatever the hell they did with this, it didn't feel like they do anything with this. And you know, and the bonus features are nothing. The audio is literally nothing, and it was just such a waste of money. $40. I got a refund for it. I felt so mugged and disrespected and robbed that I said, Amazon, this is a defective product. This is terrible. I want my money. Give me my money back. And they did, thankfully. So those were the worst 4K Blu-rays of the year. I'm probably omitting a bunch that you probably thought were bad. I know that, was it The Man Who Shot Liberty Valance? I know it was on a lot of people's lists. I haven't bought in every single 4K. A lot of these 4Ks on this list were for movies that I genuinely love and that I was really hyped for. And that's why, you know, because compared to last year there was a lot of really bad and poor 4Ks. This year it wasn't as many, but the ones that happened there were like really disappointing and really devastating. So those were the worst 4Ks of the year from what I've seen. Let me know down below your worst 4Ks of the year. Stay tuned. I will be also uploading my most disappointing, because there was actually a lot more disappointing 4K Blu-rays, because while, you know, sharpness was okay, things like audio were terrible or HDR was overly done. So stay tuned for that video, the disappointing 4Ks of 2022. Anyways, that was my video. Thank you for sticking around till the end. If you enjoyed this video, please make sure to leave a like and subscribe. I have been Mason for the Mockbuster YouTube channel. Please have yourself a good day, night, evening, afternoon, morning. Whenever you're watching this, please stay safe and God bless. Peace, cheers, long live physical media. Do better, guys. Do better.